Hey folks, good afternoon. Justin here, and a couple of you guys have asked when I posted the picture the other day about Gage staring down the deer and not taking off, how I got him to do that with him being able to sit in the middle of the distraction. So I figured I'd do a quick video up. It's a lot easier to talk it rather than type it all out. So anyways, I'll show you some of the stuff that I've used here ever since he was a puppy. This is the stuff I always get to train with. I mean, these are basic training rewards. I get these from PetSmart for like 10 bucks a bag. There's like 500 of them in there. These are the full-size ones. They also have mini ones for when the dog is a puppy. All right. When he was a puppy, I'd go through a 500-pack bag of these in a week, week and a half because I was using them so much. All right. So I've got that. I've got a little bag that I keep all my treats in because I need to have it close at hand. All right. I've got a clicker here. If you've never used a clicker, all right, that's all it is. And then I've got my British slip lead. Okay. As you can see, it goes up and down. It's not a choke collar, all right, but it's a British slip lead, so I can hold, or I can have control of them at all times. A couple of the things that I'll use when we're talking about distraction here, I'll use the little chuck it here, as well as a bumper. So the main thing when it comes to all this is being able to sit in the midst of distraction. All right. That being said, the number one key to this is the sit. All right. Now, what I can't emphasize enough is the word sit means sit. I don't use stay. I don't use any other command. I'm very quick and to the point with what I want him to do because I don't need to be saying a lot of words to get him to understand. All right. And all this went into training him as a puppy. So one of the things that I would do as a puppy is up, sit. Is if he would walk along here, 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 hold it above him. As soon as the butt goes down, click him and treat him. He understands what this click is. The reason I use a clicker and not my voice is because in your voice you can have inflection. You can sound happy, sad, angry, frustrated, all by just using the same word. No versus no versus no. That all has a different inflection. That was 3 clicks all at the same time. It all means the same thing. All right. So as you'll notice, he's sitting here and he's being good. That's what I want him to do. All right. Eventually, we will work out of using the treats. All right. But when we first start this, we've got to have what we call a high-value reward. And in the lab world, 9 times out of 10, that means food. All right. Once we start graduating from that, we can actually use objects. So here, like his bumper, a ball, what have you, that can be his reward. All right. Or as little as a good boy and pet him up. All right. So the first thing I'm going to cover is the sit. I've done another video on this. If you want to learn how to do the sit more in depth, you can do it that way. And go ahead and watch that video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my slip lead. I'm going to put it on him. You'll notice he'll sit. When I put this on him, it's right up at the base where the neck meets the skull. That's where your training lead should be. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a treat in one hand, my clicker in the other, as well as my lead, and we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to walk along. Now, when I want him to SIT, we'll walk along. I'll pull up. He'll sit, click, and treat. You have to give that click and that reward within 1.5 seconds of the action being completed. That is how quick a dog associates or dissociates what he's doing and whether or not that was the correct action to be taken. All right, so we'll do it again. Here. Notice I didn't say a word. All right, he's been doing this long enough where he knows what's expected of him. Now, once he understands that, and we've done that enough over the course of maybe 4 or 5 days as a puppy, 2 to 3 training sessions a day for 5 to 10 minutes, all right, then we can start incorporating the word sit. Pull up, sit. Good, good, good. We can do the same thing, and you're just going to do this repetition after repetition. So we'll walk along, sit. Good. When he sits, he gets his reward. Now, the other way I'm able to do this is at such a long distance is I'll use a whistle. Now I'm using a smaller, what they call a silent whistle for here, just because we're in such close proximity. But we're going to treat this the exact same way that we do the sit. So we'll back him up here. I'll have the whistle in my mouth, and it's the exact same way that we're using the word sit. So we'll walk along. Good, good. Same thing, we're just going to keep doing repetition. Good, good. All right, and eventually, what we're going to get to is once we get enough control, we'll be able to take the lead off here. Here. Sit. And what we'll do is we're just going to start things short. Notice the distance between the dog and me is extremely close. I am very much in control here. If I need to, I can get and push the dog's butt down if he does not listen. So, still in a lot of control. Feel. Good, good. Very much in control. Okay? Now, what we do to start extending this sit, heel, sit. Good. Sit. What we'll do to start extending the sit, again, we need to go back to having positive control, is once we get him to sit, here, is we're going to walk up, we're going to sit the dog, and then we're going to take a step out in front of them and immediately back. Heel. Sit. Good. He did what we wanted, here. Now we're going to withhold that reward for a second. Heel. Sit. He sat. I'm taking one step. Good, good. Notice that was not a lot. All right? He's 3 years old. He's been doing this since he was a little puppy. But for at the time he was, oh, I don't know, probably about 12 weeks old, that was a big deal for him. All right? One step out is a lot. He wants to follow. All right? So we're just going to do one step. So we'll do it again. Here. Good. Good boy. Sit, withhold, one step, no. See, he got up, so he will not receive his reward that time. Heel. Heel. Sit. Good. See, there he understood. He did not receive his reward. That was not the action that I wanted to do. You'll notice that I didn't do anything rash to him. I took him back to where we needed to start again, and we started over. Here. Do it again. Heel. Sit. I take my step. I click, let him know that's what I wanted. Good boy, and he receives his praise. Now, just like anything else, we have to work small and work up. So what we'll do is I may put a 30-foot leash on it. And what I'm going to do is instead of taking one step, maybe I take 2 or 3. And the same thing. 2 to 3, click, and immediately come back. All right? Then maybe I take 5 to 10, and then come back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start closer, but I'm going to hold the timeout. All right? So instead of immediately coming back, I'm going to maybe stay out here for 5 to 10 seconds. And I'm going to count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, click and treat. Once he gets that, I can start moving my distance out. That's on the basic sit. All right? Here. Good boy. Sit. Good. Good. All right? So, that's what we want for the sit. That's what this is all based on. All right? So, the one thing I'm going to do now is with the sit is we want to be able to do this in the midst of distraction. So, something as small as us coming outside to a 10-week-old puppy is a big distraction. That's why I do all my basics in the house. Once I have my basics down in there where there's no distractions, I bring them outside. We have the wind blowing, we have birds chirping, we've got squirrels running, we've got all kinds of distractions out here that to you and I are not a big deal, but to a 10-week-old puppy who's still trying to understand the world, that's a big deal, okay? So we're going to continue doing the same thing that I just showed you, all right? Once that's done, now we're going to up the distraction even more. All right, something as simple as heel, sit. It may be kind of hard to see, but there's a road probably, I don't know, 20 yards or so to my left, or right behind me here. What I'm going to do is I may have a kid or a helper help me, and I'm going to have them start down there, all right, and I'm going to have them walk up and down that road. Not doing anything, just walking, all right. That's a distraction for the dog, but it's at a distance. It doesn't have a lot of control over the dog. And I'm going to continue doing the same things I just taught. Once that's been able to been done, and I'm out to that distance and for an amount of time, then I'm going to move my distraction closer. All right. Now what I may do is I may have that person walking. Maybe they'll take a ball and they'll start bouncing it, create a little bit of noise. Okay. Again, this is a very controlled environment, but that's what you want. Once that distraction is starting to come in and he's still able to maintain his sit, then I can start increasing my distance. Once I increase my distance, I'm going to push my distraction out because my control over the dog decreases the farther and farther I get away from the dog. So what I'm saying is you have to be able to control that dog in an urban setting at a minimum of probably 25 to 30 yards, okay? When we're running hunt tests, I'm controlling him with a whistle out to 250, 300 yards, okay, in the midst of guns going off, birds flopping around, all kinds of scent, all that kind of stuff. But in your standard urban setting, you're not going to have a lot of that, okay? So once we've trained to that distraction, and I'll kind of show you here what I mean. Heel. Sit. Good. All right? You can see his ears perk up when I take this bumper. All right, sit. Good. Now, I'm going to stay completely in control of this situation, and I'm going to put myself between the bumper and the dog. So I'll take the bumper and I'll toss it just away behind me. Good. 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 Sit. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Good. All right. Now, I can keep doing that with treats, or as long as he gives me the response that I want, I can actually use this as the reward. With the retriever, they are bred when they see a bird fall or an object fall, there's actually chemicals in their brain that they've done studies on. It's actually equivalent to almost the dog being on crack. I mean, it's that intense of a rush. And that is what you were trying to hold back. So, you're going to watch him. You can see his ears perk. Mark. He gave me the response I wanted. Now I'll let him go. Gage, catch up. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Leave it. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. All right. Heel. Sit. Okay. Now, you saw that I was between him and I. He was a little hesitant at first because he's not used to doing this. He hasn't done this in a really long time. All right. But even at 3 years old and the level that he's at, I will always go back and work on obedience with him. So the next thing I'm going to do, you'll notice the first one I tossed behind me, all right, now I'm going to give up a little bit of that control because over time he's done what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss it to my side. Gage, Mark. He gave me the response I wanted. Good boy. Fetch. That a boy. Good boy. Good boy. Heel. Sit. Leave it. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Heel. Sit. Now I'm going through this quickly because I want you to be able to see everything that I've gone through. But you got to understand a lot of this stuff I've actually done, and it's taken me days or sometimes weeks at a time. Now again, I'm not going out for 2 to 3 hours a day. I'm going out for 5 to 10 minutes a session, doing 2, maybe 3 sessions a day. Usually once in the morning and once in the evening time. Once before I go to work, once when I get home. All right? So, once that's done and he's got that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give up even more control. And I'm going to toss it in front of me. But it's going to be very close. Gage, Mark, sit. Good. Fetch. Fetch it up. Good boy. Good boy. Fetch. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. Good. Good. Boy. Good. Oh. Oh. Good. Here. Sit. Now do is I'll eventually just get it closer and closer and closer. Till eventually the point that we're going to get to, sit. Good boy. Okay, good boy. Good boy. That's a good boy. Good boy. All right. So that's what we want to be able to do there. Now, if I want to get him to stop, and again, this is all trained in the midst of distraction. I'm personally a hunter, so I've got access to people that have birds in pens to where I can go walk him right beside the pen, all right, or potentially even through it. So one of the things that we have to do as an upland hunter is I'm working him back and forth, and a lot of times there's a bird right here. And as a flushing dog, sit. As a flushing dog, he's charged with getting that bird up and out of that cover, but I need to be able to shoot it without him running after it and getting in the line of my fire. So what I'll do is I work with him on sitting to the flush, all right? So this is where that distraction comes in, okay? Sit. I'm going to grab another bumper here real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Move the camera a little bit here so you can see a little bit better view here of what's going on. All right. Now again, this is something that I've worked with him on since he was a puppy. All right, so he understands what this drill is. Heel. Notice I have two bumpers. All right, one is going to be my reward bumper. Heel. Sit. One's going to be my reward bumper. One's going to be my flushing bumper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk forward, and one of these bumpers is going to go up like it's a bird flushing, and I'm going to hit the whistle at the same time. If you don't use a whistle, you can use the word sit, all right? But again, I have to be able to do this at a distance through wind and cover and all kinds of other stuff. That's why I use a whistle, all right? So I'm going to walk forward. As the bumper goes up, I'm going to hit the whistle for him to sit, and as long as he sits, I'm going to give him his reward bumper of tossing it behind him. So here's the example. You go. Okay, good boy. See, he understands that. He knows what this drill is. Sit. Good boy. Leave it. Good. So as long as he sits, he's going to get his reward. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Notice I held that one a little bit longer. Good boy. Heel. Sit. Hey, heel. Sit. Good. Leave it. Good. All right, notice I held that one a little bit longer because I wanted to ensure that he is truly steady. Again, we start small and we work big. Now, what I can do from that point come here, Gage. Here. Sure everybody's seen one of these before, a chuck it. Okay. What I'll do is I will get him up next to me, sit. And I'm going to make it to where this is going away from him, but it's still moving. Sit. Come on. Okay. Once he's done that, I'll release him whatever my cue command is for him to go get it. Good boy. Good boy. Heel. Sit. Leave it. Good. Now, he has a cue command for what we call free bumpers. All right? This is what I will always end a training session with. I don't make him sit. I don't make him do anything. All right? It's always good to end it no matter how good or how bad that training session was. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him go on what he thinks is going to be a free bumper. But while he's chasing this, I'm going to hit this whistle, and I expect him to sit. So we'll throw this one so I got a little bit more control. Ready? Sit. He knows where it is. Okay. Good. Good. Ah. Good boy. Good boy. Where's it at? Find it. Where'd it go? Hey, 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 hey. Where'd it go? Hey. I'm working out a little bit. There we go. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. All right. That's called internal prey drive. Labs are born with it. All right. And if a lab's worth its weight in food, it's going to come predispositioned with that. The issue is harnessing that, all right? And that's what we're doing here. So, when I see that squirrel take off, or I see that deer take off, or, you know, I know that he's getting ready to bolt, I want to make sure I've got control of the dog, okay? So, I'm going to get him all fired up. There, go. Good boy. Come here. Come on. Ready? Ready? Sit! Okay, fetch up. Good boy. Hey, you overshot it. Got a boy. Got a boy. Good. Good. Fetch up. Fetch up. Good boy. Sit. Leave it. Good boy. All right. You'll notice, you know, he got a little amped up. He gets excited, but I'm still able to have him turn it off. And as long as he turns it off, he's going to get his reward. Now, if I was just starting that drill, I'm going to put a long check cord on it. Because if he goes to bolt and he doesn't listen, I need to have a way to control that to let him know, hey, that's not what you were supposed to do. Okay? Good boy. Good boy. All right? So, there's all kinds of little different drills you can do with that, but that's the basics of getting the dog to sit whenever you're wanting him to be able to sit in the midst of distraction. So if you have any questions, please let me know and I'll help you answer them. Sit. And with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to end it with our happy bumpers.